To work through the rest of the watch list here, GBPCHF, beautiful market sentiment today. If this had not had the 800 EMA underneath it, definitely would still be watching this to see if it can come off the 21 and give us an entry. Really nice market sentiment, really nice structure here, but nothing yet. GCAD looked really good overnight. Market sentiment looked great overnight, but all the GBP pairs moved up here over the last couple of hours, like from 6:45 in the morning till now. So as they break the 50 EMA, that really kind of kills the short ideas for now. Of course, you can go short off a higher EMA, off the 200, but it's going to be a lower probability setup because you're trading towards the 50, you're trading towards the 21. Here, great market sentiment on GBPAUD. I don't love this huge pin on the AUDGBP charts here, but still, now that it's out of the Asian range, see how it breaks the Asian range? Look, I'll extend the line just so you see it. We're out of the Asian range. So you could still look to trade this short here off the 50 EMA. If we go to the 1 minute right now, it's building this bearish divergence that could feed us a D1 entry in the next couple of hours. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this as the morning goes on. See that rising price action, falling RSI. Let's see if we can get this 1 minute liquid 50 down into the sell zone. The thing I don't love about it is it shifted up. You see the 8 and 21 crossed up right here? I don't love that. So I want this thing to shift back down, and I'd like to trade it short after that shift back down. So that's on the watch list. If you're watching this live, keep an eye on that as the morning goes on. Excuse me. GBPJPY this morning, bearish on price action, again following GBPUSD, all the GBP pairs moving down yesterday afternoon. Market sentiment looked good today. The reason this was not on my watch list, look at ADR, 62 pips. This almost maxed out its average daily range already today. So it wasn't something that was screaming at me. On top of that, if you look at the bottom, I can see already, and I bet you guys can too, rising RSI, falling price action. So it's close to maxed out ADR. You've got bullish divergence on the bottom. You can see GA, GCHF, GCAD. The other GBP pairs were better setups, so I didn't even mark GJ to put it on the list. Same thing with GBPNZD. I got a big pin here from the Asian session on my AUDGBP charts, so this is still in the Asian range to me, so it's not on the watch list. Pins on EURNZD as well here, but this broke out of the Asian range. The reason this didn't make the list, I don't like trading towards the 800 EMA. On a Friday, we're kind of bringing these EMAs together. Market sentiment is very bullish, but you've got bearish divergence on top from yesterday's RSI. See how the RSI is falling, price is rising. So you've got divergence on top. You're trading towards the 800 EMA, and the Asian range high is right there as well. So it very likely could kind of chop sideways here. So I didn't like that this morning. Euro USD, I actually liked this a lot, only because I saw it hold. Basically, what I saw is like a range from Wednesday here. So if you look at these pins on Wednesday right there at the bottom, look at how that's the volatility after news. News comes in on Wednesday. We got the CPI inflation numbers. They were bad for the dollar. So Euro USD comes up, DXY goes down. You see a couple of pins after that news. Those pins created the bottom of the range. Yesterday's low came right to that price. So that's the bottom of the range. And then the top of the range was set here at the high a day with this pin, the 2 candle rule, because the 2 candles to the left, 2 candles to the right are not higher than that pin. And that was why I didn't like any long ideas yesterday, because we didn't get anything that was breaking the zone and then retesting the zone. Now today, we've broken above the zone. So if we could retest the zone, it would make sense to be looking for buys here. So that's why this was on the list this morning. Not super hot, but still something to look at. We had an A1 entry overnight here on EURGBP. This is an inverse of GBPUSD. So as GBPUSD goes down, EURGBP will move up. You got a nice 2 candle formation here. The upshift happens back here at 115. Not looking to trade that first break of the Asian range, but once it gets out of the Asia high, which is right here with this horizontal dotted line, right? Or solid line, excuse me. We break out, we retest the range, and you can look to trade this 2 candle formation because the RSI value is proper. You've got good market sentiment, and that ends up running 15, 13 pips, almost 2R here from the setup. Notice that zone here at yesterday's high, right? Pretty simple here on this one. Shauna said EuroCAD. We can go over EuroCAD. Can you give me a quick analysis on UJ? Yep, we can do UJ in a second. AUDGBP's been pinning a lot on NZD pairs, not on other brokers. Yep, that is AUDGBP for you. I mean, it is an American broker, so maybe that's why, Craig. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm not a big NZD guy anyway. You know that. Like, there's no NZD base pairs here on my list. Euro AUD did not make the list, even though it had a good market sentiment line this morning. I don't like these EMAs, and up until 45 minutes ago, this was still basically in the Asian range. So this could come higher for sure, but I didn't love the EMAs. That's all. And you also have bearish divergence on top. Price is rising, RSI is falling. So I just didn't love this. Could be on your watch list, but not for me. EURGBP, market sentiment looks pretty good. It's very close to that dotted line here, which is our stationary 50 value. We call that reset, Shauna, or everybody watching EURGBP. We call that reset. That's where we find consolidation or accumulation. Now that this is broken out of the Asian range to the upside, looking for longs as the day goes on makes a lot of sense. But you'd want the longs to come off the 21 EMA. So for right now, this isn't doing anything worth watching. But you could still keep an eye on it to see if it comes back to the 21. EURJPY, swapping market sentiment overnight last night, so this was not good. You can see we have other pairs on the list that are better, so I was like, all right, I don't need anything with that. CHFJPY had a bearish market sentiment line today, but once it was above the 50 by the time I got to the desk, that break of the 50 changes everything for me. It shifts up, it breaks the 50, so I know the shorts are going to be tough. And then CADJPY, market sentiment is bearish. The issue here is this is a pair that only has a 40 pip ADR, so it's very slow. And the 800 EMA is beneath you, so you're going to be trading towards that 800. Not ideal for me. It's technically counter trend, but you could. I just don't love this pair. You don't see me trade CAD base pairs very often for a reason. They just don't work that well for what I do. We can go to UJ and look at UJ. Market sentiment here is very choppy overnight. You can see buy zone, buy zone, then back into the sell zone. Again, now that it's down at the 800 EMA, what would we do with this? Nothing. It could either sit at this 800. I can't, if it comes back to the 21 or the 50, I don't want to trade towards the 800. I just told you that on the other pairs. So UJ to me is not a good read. I can't get a good read on that. Very often, guys, you'll see I have this whole watch list here on the right side of the screen, but a lot of the pairs, if I can't read it, I just don't put it on the list. There's plenty of other good ideas. You know what I mean? I'd rather wait for good setups that I know how to read than try to force something on USDJPY, if that makes sense. Any questions on that, on working through the watch list, on why I marked certain pairs, anything like that? Is AUDGBP Canadian? No, they're based in America. Great explanation. Good. Took a D1 on CAD JPY. Then it formed divergence against me. On the 15 and 1 minute, I got stopped out at break even. Should I take partials when divergence form? 1 minute divergence is tough to be exiting your trades on because you're going to get out of a lot of trades too early in that situation too. So I'm not a big fan of that. For anyone that's looking for a trade as the morning goes on, I would be looking for shorts here on GBPAUD. That's where I'm focused on right now. If we could shift back down and trade the pullback to that shift, that would be a decent entry for sure. And that would follow the GBP short biased. I'm getting a lot better in selecting the watch list this week. Even when it hits the 800 overbought, oversold, I'm looking for something better, all because of the live streams. Good. Overbought and oversold are not the end of the world. Really, overbought, oversold is a small knock. The perfect liquid 50, no divergence against you, that's where we want to try to find setups. If you can find, for example, a setup like GBPUSD where you have perfect market sentiment, but you don't have divergence against you and it's under the 50 EMA, those are the best setups. That's what I'm looking for. That's where the money is. Those are clean trend. But if you have divergence against you, if you've got a significant level in your way, now you're starting to throw hiccups in the trade, hurdles in front of you, and that's where you start to decrease